back into the Sean Shaw podcast. We are donning the first ever inaugural. Actually, no, I'm wrong. The inaugural fantasy football episode with the big one last one. But this is the first ever solely based fantasy football pod.
There we go.
The other one was one of the larger ones in the different format. This is a smaller format. We're just talking fantasy football on this one. No other type of news. No scouting. This is all fantasy. And we're doing our fantasy top 10 running backs. But before we get in that, Cat Daddy. Hey, what's up?
What's going on, fantasy football family? I am excited to be talking about fantasy football because, one, I love it, and two, I have come out of fantasy football retirement because, well, I need another championship in my life, right? I don't have enough.
But it ain't.
We'll see. We'll see.
You made the mistake of joining a competitive league.
You're saying your other leagues were not competitive before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
So my last 3 years in fantasy football were runner-up, championship.
You versus me.
Oh, apparently me. Yeah. 3 straight championship appearances, 2 championships. I went out like John Elway, right? And here I'm back for more.
And you had only one bit of competition. Let's be honest. Who did always somehow beat you the first match of the year.
It's ridiculous. Every league that we're in, I always face you week 1, and I think you always win week 1, right? Do I face you in week 1? Did you set that schedule up that way? Am I facing you in week 1?
Set the schedule up.
I gotta know. Are we facing each other week 1?
I have no idea yet.
Okay.
I have no idea yet.
We're gonna find out in a couple of weeks. We're gonna report back to you. I have a feeling I'm gonna face him in week 1.
But you always do lose to me week 1. It's weird.
You know, I got to get my 1 loss of the year out early, and then I just run the table. That's my strategy.
No, I think I've beaten you twice before. And then I lose to someone else in the playoffs, and then you beat them.
Well, I don't think we faced in the playoffs.
I think I'm your only Achilles heel.
It's true. Like, if you go back through those years, I think majority of my losses come from you.
Hey.
But you know what? I'll take the losses to you, and I'll take the championship. Yeah, that's fine. I'll trade that all day.
Oddly enough, the one year that the first year you're out, I almost go undefeated. I had 1 loss late in the year.
Well,
but I still got that championship. I literally
you're welcome.
Beasted everyone else.
I let you. I was like, you know what? It's time for me to step aside. You need a championship. I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, stop that nonsense.
But no, I'm excited.
If you knew I was going to win, you would have stayed. I
would have. Yeah, I'd have done everything I could have stopped that from happening. That's such a true story. But today is a good episode to listen to, and I'm glad it's the first fantasy solo episode that we have because
Unless
running
you're in
back.
the league with us,
because running
don't
back.
Listen. Do not listen if you're in the league with us. Turn it off now.
Yeah. Just go ahead and delete this episode if you're in the league with us. But
especially for Sean's sake.
Yeah, I'm throwing it all out there, right? I want everybody to know my plan.
The person ahead of me isn't listening.
I'm number 10 out of a 12-team league, so I got 9 people, this guy included, listening to my strategy.
Ooh. It matters. You know who I'm taking.
I do. I know 2 people who you could be picking, right? You're number 2.
Who I'm taking.
If he's available.
You really think Dan's listening?
I don't know who he's taking.
Dan is not listening.
I don't know who he's taking, though.
I know exactly who he's taking.
All right, well,
we'll taking 1 or 2 people.
We'll see come draft time. But
we will.
This is the most important position in fantasy football, I think, because running back comes at such a premium. Quarterbacks typically start for the full year. Wide receivers typically start for the full year. Running back is that tricky spot that you have to draft correctly, you have to draft well, because if you mess up on the running back, it
It's
could
hard to find one late.
ruin your season. Now, some people have the zero running back method where they say, I'm going to go wide receiver round 1, I'm going to go quarterback tight end round 2, just
How's that work out
completely
for you?
avoid the running back position. I'm not a fan of that. My first 2 rounds, I have to get a stud. That's where it has to be. Now, as I was saying last week, if you're listening to the full episode, pay attention to your scoring system. That's going to be really important. Is your league a PPR league? Do you award points for receptions? If so, you're going to look at running backs who catch the ball differently. You want that volume of carries and the volume of receptions. Today, we're talking standard, non-PPR, right? No points for receptions. So my list and my rankings in a PPR league might look different than what we talk about today. Because today we're just talking standard. Keep that in mind.
Now, with that said, I hear the no running back thing. I have a different strategy, and it has worked for me in the past. Actually, it's worked for me recently in terms of these players. I go with the no quarterback policy. Get your quarterbacks late. Yes, I get it. Patrick Mahomes, amazing. This, and that. But take the third quarterback on the board. What is the biggest difference between, let's say, Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan in terms of points, fantasy points? It's not the craziest difference. I'm just saying, you can get your quarterbacks late, load up on running backs, wide receivers, and even tight ends early. Now, note, right now we're going with standard stuff because it's running backs, but we may tap into the IDP later. Ooh. If you're a brave soul. If you can, I'm just saying, it takes a real person with skill to dominate an IDP.
That's like advanced, right? We're talking like fantasy 101, like you're talking fantasy 401, you're talking like upper level class. We're gonna have that in the future, right?
Hey, defense are people too.
Defense matters.
It does. But jumping into our running back rankings. So, let's see. I normally let you go first. And guess what? I'm going to let you go first.
All right.
There may be some little variance between us, which is fun.
This is what you come to expect, right? People aren't going to come here and listen to us if we're going to have the same people in the same order.
People might think I'm a crazy man with my rankings, but I am okay with that. Even though people might question you on your number 10 guy.
Oh, I don't. You can question all you want, but
let's get into it.
Coming into this fantasy season, I had 3 running backs that I was really high on. The first one was Cam Akers, and he suffered a season-ending injury, right? I was really high on Cam Akers. Yep. If you're in a redraft league, nope, forget about him. Not even worth remembering the name until next year. Second guy I was high on this year, Jonathan Taylor. But with news of Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson both being out for a 5 to 12 week time frame, that really shoots his value in the foot, right? Pun.
I hear it. I got you.
MVP, most valuable punster, right here. You're welcome. But yeah, for me, I started to fade Jonathan Taylor. He's definitely not going to be a first-round running back for me now with those 2 injuries because the offense is going to look completely different. I don't trust it right now. So he's gone. That means I have 1 guy left of the 3 that I really liked coming into the season.
Which he already has on his team, people.
Which I do. And fingers crossed, like breath being held, that nothing happens to him.
Healthy.
Yeah,
Stays healthy.
Stays healthy. That's what I'm hoping for because 2 of the 3 guys I like so far, not doing so good. So really banking on this 3rd guy. So Gonna tell you who it is now. Los Angeles Chargers, Austin Eckler. And you're thinking, I don't remember him. What was his name? Like, yeah, he didn't play a full year last year. He was a little bit injured. That's okay. He's better now. He's healed.
Who came in and played some? What was his name? Josh Kelly? Who?
So,
Who?
as long as he stays healthy, the name won't matter this year. Austin Eckler is the name to know. And this is a standard league. If he's in a PPR league,
Oh, and that's the thing. We are in the PPR.
we are, yeah. Well, it's a half PPR, so we don't get a full point, but
Hey,
we get we get something for receptions, which just increases the value, right? Because Austin Eckler is a back who could flirt with 100 catches, triple digits. He could get there, which means receptions alone would be an additional 50 points, not including the yard. Who's the new offensive coordinator in Los Angeles? Joe Lombardi. Where's he spent the last, I forget how many years. He's been there for a while. New Orleans Saints. You saw what Alvin Kamara could do. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler. I'm liking that.
Alvin Kamara.
I'm saying that he's going to have an offensive person who's coming in with the mindset of utilizing the running back with 80-plus receptions.
I got you.
I like that. I like him in a standard league. I like him even more in PPR. I'm really excited for this year. I'm really just hoping he stays healthy, right? I got him on my team already. Fingers crossed.
From one PPR running back to another PPR running back. My number 10 guy, Pittsburgh Steelers running back, Najee Harris. Oh yeah, I'm going spicy with it.
Wow, hot takes right away. All right.
And there's always a rookie running back that does something. And here's the thing, talking about getting receptions. Ben Noodle Arm Roethlisberger is going to dump it off to the running back multiple times. And Najee got hands. They've been showcasing it on the videos where the ball, I saw the one where the ball was too high and he tipped it back to himself. Now, no, Najee, don't do that. In a game,
not in a game.
You're going to get rocked.
And someone else is picking up that ball and going the other direction with it.
Well, I mean, they'd have to intercept it, but he's still getting rocked. But at the same time, he does have good hands, and he's a talented back. Big, strong, fast, and he's young. He's eager to make things happen. So, yeah, I think Najee's actually prone for a big season. I would not draft him with my number 2 overall pick, but I would draft him coming around the bend.
Ooh, number 10 might be rich, considering how...
That's your pick.
Yeah, I know. I'm number 10. If the draft shaped out like my list is, or even his list, like, I'm not taking Najee Harris number 10. I'm not taking him in the first round because I don't trust that Pittsburgh offensive line.
But
he's going to get the volume. He's got that in his favor, but there's a lot I don't trust about Pittsburgh.
But would you take him with the 14th overall? Is it 14th or 13th?
It would
14th.
be... Are we
14th.
talking a 10 or a 12 team?
12.
12 team league, that means I got pick 15 coming back.
Would you take him then?
Yeah. Not first round, though. Nope.
But, I mean, I'm just saying, yeah, I wouldn't take him first round, really. But, oh, no, I might. If I'm at, like, 11, 10, 11, 12, yeah. But there's wide receivers that can come in there and stuff like that. This is what I'm saying. This is running backs. We're not incorporating wide receivers or tight ends or stuff like that.
No, that might be a later episode, though.
Because, I mean, Devontae Adams, he would be in the mix for an overall top 12 players. You know what I'm saying? There's like 3 receivers that you can sprinkle in the mix there.
Yeah, you might even throw a tight end in there. Little Travis Kelce.
I don't do tight ends that early, but that's me. I've had luck getting tight ends late and having them blow up. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Anyways, your number 9 guy.
My number 9 guy.
Speak on it.
This is going to be the year of Joe Mixon. Hopefully, right? Cincinnati just did a lot of work to update that offensive line. You have Joe Burrow coming back healthy, so the offense is going to look a little bit more efficient this year. He's coming to a second year in the league. You just drafted a playmaking wide receiver round 1. Let Zach Taylor dial up some Joe Mixon.
Another guy who can catch the ball.
And another guy. You're going to notice a trend as we're going through the top 10. These running backs I like, not only do I like them in standard leagues, even more so when it comes to the PPR leagues or any points for reception, is because they have the added value, because that means there's greater probability they're going to be on the field for 3 downs. And if I can have a running back on the field for 3 downs, I want him on my fantasy team because that means he has a greater chance for volume. He's on the field more. That's what I like. So Joe Mixon, I'm rooting for you. I really want this to be your year.
I actually do like Joe Mixon a lot. You know, I've been an advocate for Joe Mixon. You know, I mean, you know, there's some other things in here why people might not like him. I don't get into all that personally. You know, it is what it is. I believe in second chances as long as people uphold themselves as decent human beings. That being said, he's not in my top 10. I do like him, but he's not in my top 10. My number guy, 9 guy, is Aaron Jones. Green Bay Packers. I really like Aaron Jones, especially in the PPR league. Aaron Jones has great hands. He's got Aaron Rodgers. 2 Aarons. Randall Cobb should help open things up underneath. It's just my only issue with Aaron Jones. Stay healthy, bud. I had him last year. And you know something? Those games he missed, they really hurt me. So that's where I'm at there.
All right, so now your number 8 guy or your number 9 guy that you liked so much, Aaron Jones, I like him too. I like him so much. He's my number 8 guy.
Oh, look at that.
Right, Green Bay, yes. Aaron Jones.
Throwing some stuff out there. The Packer fan seems low on the Packer running room back.
There's something about running backs signing contract extensions that I just like, I want to like them more, but it almost, I'd have to go back and look at historically when running backs sign contracts and big deals, how well or not as well do they perform afterward, right? I still got that sit in the back of my mind. But Aaron Jones, his value is much better now than it was weeks ago when there was a whole Aaron Rodgers drama of whether he's returning or not returning, what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is back, which means Aaron Jones' value increases. More so in PPR leagues, you're thinking he can easily get 50 receptions on the season. One thing I want to look out for with Aaron Jones, though, goal line efficiency. Is he going to lose those goal line touches to A.J. Dillon? Yeah. What does he call himself? The quad father or something?
Did you see the picture of both of them beside each other?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, man, he's massive. Makes Aaron Jones look small.
Yeah, but that's the thing I worry about is, will there be a loss of touches near the goal line, taking away Aaron Jones' value? Like, what does that efficiency look like? So that's why he's a little bit lower on my list than maybe if it was last year.
So my next guy, a little bit of trend, another talented guy, Saquon Barkley from the Giants. Want to know why he's number 8 and not higher? Because you know that Jason Garrett offense is going to want to run the ball, get him the ball in the passing game because, you know, Daniel Jones is going to be running for his life. But my only issue is he's coming off a major injury. And, you know, I'm going to look like a hypocrite later. The difference here is the other guy coming out later. is in a more stable situation, in my opinion. It's just with the injuries coming off, the other guy coming up later came back from his injury. Saquon is going to see his first NFL action coming from his injury coming up this season. And, you know, something that's a little worrisome. So, you know, I'm just saying I'm going to be cautious. This is fantasy. You need your first round pick to be a stud. You need him to hold down your team. You can't have that dude going out for the year. That hurts your team.
It's just a wasted first round pick.
Seriously.
Those first round picks matter. Do you always have to hit your first round pick?
Yes.
Not always, right? My mindset was
you need to. You need to.
It's going to be more beneficial if you do, but my mindset is, can I win without a first round? Yeah.
Can you win without hitting your first round pick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it easier when you hit on the first rounds?
Is it likely? No, because the first round is where you get your studs. It's where you get the guys that hold down your team. Those are the guys you know you can rely on, and then you take your chances later, and maybe you hit later. If you hit well enough, you can trade that first round pick for a different stud. But that's a whole nother strategy.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get into later.
Yeah.
Now, note another trend here going on.
Before
I have Saquon 8.
Before I even announce who my number 7 is, I just gotta say right now that I don't feel very good about my 3 through 7 running backs listed here.
Doesn't matter.
I don't feel good about them. And
putting it on video.
I know, put it on video, put it on paper. I could talk about these players tomorrow, and they could be in a different order depending on
own it, sucker.
What I think. I'm gonna own it today, but I don't feel good because I think this 3 through 7 group has questions to it, and I would hate to be drafting in the middle this year.
Stop making excuses.
I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, like, this 3 through 7 group, if I was drafting 3 through 7, I wouldn't feel good. I like my spot being number 10.
You're not.
I feel better at number 10. I want one or two,
where I'm at.
Or I want like 8, 9, 10. You know, that's where I want to be.
You'd love to be where I'm at, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. I'd love to be there. But back to my list. My number 7 guy, Sean was just talking about, Saquon Barkley, New York Giants. Oh, I don't believe Saquon has started practicing yet, and that's a little concerning for me. I have a hard time ranking him any higher when I'm not even sure when he's going to be available to play or how many games this season he is going to play. But if he comes back like normal, if he comes back like his rookie season, PPR monster, touch monster, you're thinking he's getting all the volume in New York. All of it. So could he be better?
Yes.
He might come back better. But do I have enough information right now? Like, would I feel comfortable taking him number 3? No.
And the other part of this, we detailed it in a different episode, which we're not going to get into everything. The Giants are dysfunctional. Is that going to take a, let's say, is it going to hurt how Saquon's season goes? It possibly could. You don't know what type of play calling is going to be. You don't know how the player's morale is going to be. You don't know what the player's condition is going to be. You don't know how these players feel about this coaching staff. You know, I've seen it where players quit on coaching staffs. Now, going from one guy who seems to be in a not ideal situation to another guy who used to be in a not ideal situation, who apparently everything I'm hearing out of training camp is a fantastic situation. My number 7 guy is Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. That note, you see me with the jersey on. You know which team I root for. I love Zeke a lot. My whole thing about it is is this could be an interesting year for Zeke because he slimmed down. He's actually making himself more pertinent for a Mike McCarthy Mike McCarthy offense. So he's actually playing at a slimmer weight, and he's gotten quicker. He looks a little bit more spry. So we'll see what happens here. Could be a lot of fun stuff happening in down with the Cowboys. All right, that's where I'm at there. Moving on.
All right, my number 6 guy is not Ezekiel Elliott.
No, it's not.
No. My number 6 guy, Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb. He gets to run behind one of the best offensive lines in football. Huge boost for him. Huge boost. He would be higher on my list if it weren't for that pesky Kareem Hunt stealing touches. Because Kareem Hunt's pretty good too. More pass catching. But would I like Nick Chubb more if he had those receptions? Yeah. If anything happened to Kareem Hunt, would Nick Chubb go up my list? He would go up in the rankings, yeah. But for right now, I got Nick Chubb at number 6. I like the potential. I just don't like the idea of Kareem Hunt just looming.
I hear you, and I understand that. I'll talk about Nick Chubb later, not to be a spoiler, because I got Nick Chubb a little higher than you do. Just a tad.
Just did.
Just a tad.
Okay. Who do you got number 6?
My number 6 guy. Hold on a second. I didn't finish what I needed to do for him. Oh, look at me slacking on the job.
Oh man, one of us has to keep it professional. Ugh.
My number 6 guy, Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints. And here's the thing. Everybody's going to be like, what?
What?
Alvin Kamara at number 6? How dare you? But let me explain. I am worried. The offensive coordinator's gone, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew Brees ain't there. Hell, Teddy Bridgewater ain't there. Who's going to be quarterbacking? Stop it. Is it Taysom Hill? Is it Jameis Winston? Oh, you going to eat a W? Anytime we can bring up eating a W, I got to put the video up this time. I didn't put it up last time, but I got to put it up this time. Eating a W, that is comedy gold. How no one has put that in the SNL skit is beyond me. Do you see his teammates in that video? They have no clue what he's talking about. Eat what? Like, what? Anyways. So, Kamara's still super talented. I'm just not sure how great of a year he's going to have because there's a lot of things that impact what type of year a running back has.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to your number 5 guy.
Number 5. Some people are going to like this. Some people aren't. Number 5, Tennessee Titans, King Henry. That's who I got. You're thinking, man, he just ran for 2,000 yards last season. Probably won you a league. He was probably won you a league like the last 2 years. He's done really well. He benefits from that Julio Jones trade. He does because now Tennessee is another receiving threat. Now creates more running lanes for him. Yeah. But including the playoffs the past 2 years, Derrick Henry has come really close to 400 total carries each of the past 2 years. And when running backs have that volume of carry, historically, not always, but historically there's that Efficiency is lost. They get worn down. They don't run quite as well. And that's what bothers me with Derrick Henry in the back-to-back 300 plus carry seasons. What works in his favor is his lack of involvement in the passing game, right? We're talking standard scoring. So his lack of involvement in the passing game is good because that means he's not accumulating any additional touches. He's not getting more work in there. So that's a good thing for him in standard leagues. And what's also...
Not those PPR.
No, not in PPR. But what also works in his favor is he really didn't take over the starting role until not halfway through the 18 season.
I talked about this,
but
and people like to just throw out bumper sticker nonsense on Twitter. And I talked about this when people put him compared to Ezekiel Elliott. But we ain't gonna get into all that. That's not a debate I want to get into. But you brought it up.
But yeah, that's why I have Derrick Henry a little bit lower, is because the volume of carries he's had the past couple of seasons makes me think that we're going to see a decline in his numbers. Now, will his numbers still be good? Yeah, they could be. Am I expecting another 2,000? Yeah, am I expecting another 2,000-yard season?
No.
No, not quite. With that punishing running style too, he's going to take
Jones. And Julio Jones. I'm sorry, Julio Jones is going to change the game there.
There's a lot to like about Derrick Henry. And that's why I have him at 5. If I had the number 1 pick, am I taking Henry? No.
God, no. All right, my number 5 guy. We're about to get spicy.
More hot takes.
J.K. Dobbins.
What?
Ravens. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Non-PPR.
First of all, RB1 coming out. Don't get me wrong, I love Jonathan Taylor, but there was a lot of wear on that tread. Love this guy coming out of Ohio State. I love the Ravens offense to give a running back a lot of touches. He will catch balls. He can catch balls. He's good in that aspect. Awesome in space. I understand other people being apprehensive. This is where I'm a wild card. This is where I'm a maverick. But I'm gonna let y'all know, when I tend to be a maverick like this, it tends to pay off for me. So if J.K. Dobbins hits me in the second round, you know something, he ain't getting past me. It's just the way it is.
Well, shoot, if you're drafting like 5 or 6 in your rankings, he's not getting past you.
Right, but I'm drafting 2. You know who I'm taking 2.
I
but
do.
If he hits me
all right,
in the second round, which you know that's possible.
Or not.
Getting past.
Or not.
What?
Or he may not be getting to you in round 2.
No, he might not. But it is possible. You tell me that's not possible for J.K. Dobbins to reach me. Not everybody's going to have him where I got him. You know this.
Yeah.
But it's how I feel.
He's in my top 15, right? He's not my top 10, but...
You ain't taking him in the second round. You know you got someone else that you're going to take. It ain't going to be you.
We'll see how it shapes out.
Nah.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Anyways, moving on to your number 4 guy.
Number 4 guy.
Who I think can reach you at number 10.
Ooh, I'm actually kind of hoping.
Because I know someone who's going to take him.
I know.
By the name of Josh.
I'm
just telling you right now. I think he told me he would. But I think he might go number 1 overall because Dan's crazy. This is why I'm not worried.
Just putting Dan on blast like that. Okay.
Oh, yes, okay. I can. You know, he's part owner of this stuff.
Fair game.
He paid for the equipment. Gotta do the shout out.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you. Here's your shout out and here's your blast out. Here you go.
Anyways.
My number 4 guy is the jersey that he's wearing right on the other side of the screen. Ezekiel Elliott, the Dallas Cowboys. I am expecting a big bounce back year from Zeke, not just
I
because
love how we
he's.
say bounce back. Like Zeke had a really bad year.
I mean, when you think of how well he should have performed last year, what the expectations were,
With no quarterback?
yeah, and like 2/3 of an offensive line, or right,
This is
but
what I'm saying.
he's in good health now. His quarterback has returned to health, hopefully, unless that
He's
shoulder
slimmer.
injury is
And his
lingering.
offensive line, too.
And the offensive line, like I don't like the idea of drafting multiple players from the same offensive team, right? Because you're thinking, well, there's a whole touch and volume thing. Like if it's quarterback wide receiver combo, I can get on board with that. But if it's a running back wide receiver combo, it's harder because you're thinking, well, in one case, I hope
You did
Zeke gets
have
the
Dak
ball.
at 3.
What's that?
You did have Dak at 3.
Yeah. Like if I compare the quarterback with an offensive weapon, yeah,
I love it.
yeah. But this Dallas Cowboy offense is one of those where, like, if I have a running back and a wide receiver, right? If I have Zeke and CD Lamb, okay, I'm fine with that. There are not many teams I'm okay with that. Dallas is one of those teams I like. Last year, Dak was on pace for what, like 8,000 yards? Something ridiculous. Volumes there, numbers
20,
there.
it was actually 65,000.
Yeah.
6,500.
Yeah.
6,500.
Something ridiculous, which is great for fantasy purposes.
If I may, being the closest thing to a Dallas insider on this pod, if I may, I'm going to give you some tidbits to support you. So the first part, the less weight for Zeke means he's faster, and he has looked faster. 2, just to help that PPR league, apparently Zeke's been going downfield a lot. He's been doing the Aaron Jones stuff. Think about that in your brain now. Yeah, I saw the look. He's been doing the Aaron Jones stuff, like over the shoulder catch. I got video. like one caption I saw. It's like Zeke out here trying to act like he wide receiver 1. And then on top of that, it is the offensive line being back. I mean, I saw Tyron Smith. All right, I preface in a different pod where Randy Gregory's looking great. I saw a video where Tyron Smith ragdolled him with one arm. That's disgusting. So,
Yeah, there's
yes,
a lot to like about Dallas, a lot to like about Zeke.
it's just there's a lot of weapons, and eventually, like if they play the way they need to play, I mean, they could go the KC way and just keep freaking scoring, I guess. I don't see them doing that. But they might have to, because the defense might be booty. So that all may help your stance there on having Zeke number 4, because some people might not agree with that.
And that's okay. That's okay.
We're not here to agree with people. Understand? I got J.K. Dobbins number 5.
You do.
So, my next guy, Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans. Now, note, I do think he's going to regress to the mean. I don't think he's going to completely fall off, but I do think he's going to regress, and he's just going to be, let's say, a really good running back this year. I do think the Titans are going to pass more. They have a new offensive coordinator. I don't know who it is. I'm sorry. But I do think that they're going to recognize in the playoffs they've lost because their passing game hasn't been up to par. And they're going to have to figure out a way to get that going properly. So they will be passing more. And we'll see how that works out for them. They do have Julio Jones with A.J. Green. Both are studs. The tight end situation is weird, but they do still have Derrick Henry, and they still have a good offensive line, even though they did lose an offensive lineman. What team did he go to? Conklin? Let me check with my producer.
Is it Cleveland?
It may be. Cleveland Browns. Yes, it is. So, just saying. It's going to be interesting.
It will be.
Yeah, Conklin has been with the Browns since last year. So I'm a year late here. But, I mean, it still matters.
It does.
Anyways, moving on.
Moving
Because
on.
you talked about Derrick Henry already.
Mm-hmm.
Who
So,
is your number 3 player?
number 3, Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints. And again, this whole 3 to 7 range, they could flip-flop depending on the day that you talk to me. But today, Kamara's number 3. Nothing against Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, but neither of them is going to be able to properly fill the shoes of Drew Brees. They won't. Not even combined, right? They're not going to do it. Now, in the brief snapshot that we saw last season, when Drew Brees was out of action, Kamara was statistically better when Jameis Winston was under center. And again, this is just a small sample size because I think Winston came in for one game to finish it off, and then Taysom Hill started like 3 or 4 games afterwards. So Winston didn't have an opportunity to show us more.
I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you here.
Okay.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about here?
Wait for it.
Taysom Hill?
Wait for it, yeah. We don't know who's going to be the starter in New Orleans, which creates the question, which means...
Which is nonsense!
If it's Taysom Hill and the trend continues where he doesn't throw the ball to Kamara, well, Kamara's going to drop back in my rankings. If it's Jameis Winston, I think 3 is going to be the ceiling for Kamara when it comes to my rankings. 1 and 2 they're undisputed, but 3, Kamara I think is the highest that I'm going to have him ranked. What works in his favor is when Michael Thomas was out of action last year, he was a monster in the receiving game. So good value for PPR.
Michael Thomas?
Michael
Thomas?
Yeah.
Where you at?
He may not be in action early in the season, which is going to work well for Kamara. He's going to get more touches manufactured for him.
I'm just saying, because I'm mad at Michael Thomas. Get your injury stuff together. I understand he can't control injuries, but for real, man, I had you on my fantasy team last year, and you effed me.
We'll talk about more next week. Maybe if he makes the top 10. Maybe if. But coming back to Kamara, what works in his favor is Thomas is going to be out. He's going to have an absence. We're not sure how long yet, but there's going to be that window. And 2, I think the Saints have one of the best offensive lines in football, which is
a very good one.
Which is going to work well for Kamara. So 3 is the ceiling. That's where I have
if no
him.
one fears the pass. Eat a W. Eat the W. Anyways, I'm going to go to my number 3 guy. I'm going to start hating on Jamie's and his crab legs. My number 3 guy, who I think is the second most talented running back in the whole league. Oh, yeah, I said it. I'm nuts. Which you should have said.
What?
Because me and you had these conversations before, which is weird, which I'm going to bring up in a second. But my number 3 guy is Nick Chubb on the Cleveland Browns. I get it. Alvin Kamara is there. I don't care. Nick Chubb is getting his touches. And he's doing what he's going to do. Especially with that offensive line. That Cleveland offensive line is so much better. And they've got all those weapons. Odell's coming back. They've got weapons up the booty with the tight ends. with the wide receivers, Nick Chubb is going to have a year. And yes, Kamara does not get goal line. It is Chubb. Now, that being said, I'm going to put Sean on blast real quick.
Okay.
Because me and Sean had some arguments a couple years back before we did pods. We've been talking football for a long time. Understand, people, this is going on like 15, 20 years here.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah. And we had this conversation. Which Georgia running back was better? Gurley or Chubb? He said Chubb. I said Gurley. Well, somebody rode Gurley to multiple championships. And the other person is sitting here advocating for Chubb. It's odd how life works out sometimes.
My, how the turntables have turned.
Just saying, out loud.
Yep.
You know that's the argument we had.
Hey, I can still like Nick Chubb and ride Todd Gurley to a championship.
Oh, you can.
Two of them.
You can, but I mean, you don't like Nick Chubb enough right now, in my opinion. This hate.
This moment, it doesn't mean I don't like him. I'm not as high on him as you are.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Put some respect on the name.
I did. He was number 6.
6. That's not respect.
What?
I'm sorry. I just got messed a little bit. Even though I'm a little serious. Put some respect on that name, son.
Nicholas Chubb. Is that better?
All right. So I'm going to announce our number 1, number 2 players at the same time for both of us because we haven't swapped. So there's no point in not talking about them together. This is just how we feel. These are the 2 top players in terms of running backs for us, and we're just going to put them out there.
This is my tier 1. These 2 individuals. This is it.
Right. Same here. So let's rock and roll. I'm going to show them out there.
Oh, okay.
So, for Sean, he's got Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers, number 1, and Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings, number 2. Where I myself have Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings, number 1, and Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers, number 2. Now, note, I'm going to talk first this time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to steal Sean's thunder.
Got the thunder. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Call the dragons out. If y'all don't know that reference, I'm sorry. Anyways, my main reasoning, 1, Christian McCaffrey, yes, is coming off an injury, but I'm not worried about that because he came back from it. My worry, and this is the thing, I don't like either quarterback on these teams. But the Vikings have a more competent quarterback than the Panthers, in my personal opinion. The Vikings also have more weapons. Let it be a tight end, let it be a wide receiver. Also, I mean, I think receiving ability is a wash because both are extremely nice in the receiving ability aspect of it. Then you want to talk about injury. I think that's a wash. Dalvin's had injuries. Same thing with McCaffrey. So when it comes to this, I like to, in my opinion, I think about who's more explosive, whose offense is more explosive. Personally, I say it's the Vikings. So I do like Dalvin Cook a little bit more. Now, the only thing here that I will say a little bit in the negative for Dalvin Cook's backup, Matheson, is a little bit more capable than Christian McCaffrey's backup because Mike Davis is no longer on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, note, I've talked about Dalvin Cook more because that's my guy. I'm going to lend the stage to Sean to let him talk about his guy now.
If I'm drafting number 2, I am really happy because no matter who goes number 1, I've got at least one of these 2 available to me. And I would be perfectly happy walking away with either of these guys in a draft. Perfectly happy. No problem with it. If I had the preference, though, if I'm sitting at 1-1, I'm opening the draft, I'm going Christian McCaffrey. He is the Carolina offense. The Carolina offense goes as Christian McCaffrey goes.
Nah, you forgetting about DJ Moore, my friend.
Christian McCaffrey is going to get the rushing touches. He's not going to come off the field. Could Minnesota give touches to Matheson, taking away from Dalvin Cook? Yeah, they could. They could. Who's there for Carolina? Nobody noteworthy. He's got every carry. He should receive every carry this season. Now, I know we're talking standard scoring, not factoring in PPR, but we are factoring in the receiving yards. I think Dalvin Cook can get you between 300 to 400 receiving yards, which is good.
Oh.
But the yardage difference between McCaffrey and Cook is going to be significant because McCaffrey could flirt with 1,000 receiving yards on top of 1,000 rushing yards. And for me, those yards, those receiving touchdowns that come along with it, that is something that's much more appealing to me than Dalvin Cook. So if I'm sitting at 1-1,
does have a capable
1-1.
backup, by the way.
Does he?
You asked.
I did. Who is it?
My producer checked it out.
Yeah.
And answered. Chuba Hubbard.
Okay. I don't think Carolina's going to be trusting the rookie, but okay.
Bull crap. You know Chuba's going to get his touches.
Okay.
Chuba's got more of a name than Matheson.
But I think Matheson will get more carries than Chuba will. It's on the pod.
We'll see.
We're going to come back at the end of the season, assuming both are healthy for the full season. All things equal, starting running back is not injured.
Equal.
You know.
This is the debate.
Yeah.
We're literally debating 2 players here. The rest is what it is. You know, people like the Packers fan have Ezekiel Elliott higher than Aaron Jones.
Yeah. I'm a smart fantasy player. I'm not a homer, right? I'm not going to pick Packer players because there's a Packer player there.
Nice.
Now, if Aaron Jones is the best player on my board at number 10, yeah, I'll take him.
He won't be.
But
you know he won't be.
I know he's, but yeah, he
No.
might
In
be
our
kept.
particular league, Aaron Jones is kept.
Yeah, but you're thinking standard league, you know, the league where there's no keepers. If Aaron Jones is the best player available when I'm drafting, yeah,
right,
I'm gonna take
him. Full disclosure for those people wondering about our particular league. Of his top 10, only 2 players are kept. Wow, that is interesting.
And one of them is mine, Austin Eckler.
One of them is yours. Out of mine, only 1. So it is a free fall for that top area.
Yeah, what works well for me, and if my rankings play out like my predictions play out, is that I'm keeping Austin Eckler in the 3rd round. So he's my 3rd round pick. I could add another one of these running backs to it. So from my draft board, I could walk away from this draft with at least 2 of my top 10 running backs. And that would make me feel.
J.K. Dobbins, though.
You could. You could. It's going to be an interesting season.
Or even Najee.
You can have Najee. If he comes back around to me.
You wouldn't take Najee at my spot in the 2nd round.
Oh, 2nd rounds. Yeah, because you're at the end of the 2nd round. He's like pick 23, absolutely. But I'm sitting at 15.
Dalvin Cook's my first pick Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey are my first pick no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what.
Yep.
I'm Kevin Costner in draft day, mother sucker. No matter what, one of these two players are happening.
It's a draft day. Oh.
Oh, it's a wonderful work of fiction. Ridiculously fantasy movie. You didn't know that was a fantasy movie? That's right up there with Lord of the Rings.
Your number one pick is going to be Vontae Mack, no matter what.
No matter who picks a linebacker with the number one overall pick.
Kevin
Nonsense.
Costner. Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, spoiler out there for anybody who hadn't seen Draft Day. We do apologize. We should have
if you
warned you that
haven't
there was
seen
a
Draft
spoiler.
Day and you're watching a football pod, you need to reevaluate your life choices.
For me, my post-it note, Christian McCaffrey, no matter what. That's my post-it note.
Anyways. It is words of wisdom time. Oh, shoot. Lost my thought for a second there. Words of wisdom time, Sean.
Ooh, where's the wisdom do I have now?
Give him some draft ones.
Some draft ones. Man, all right. Words of wisdom. Know your scoring system. And my second one is going to be, it's going to be a good one. And if you're going to wait until the end of this pod to hear it, if you're in a deep league, it could work out well for you. Remember the name, Xavier Jones. Los Angeles Rams running back. Remember the name. If you're in a deep league, remember that name.
All right. My words of wisdom when it comes to fantasy drafts and just fantasy football in general, trust your board. Don't panic. Trust your board. Don't just go offset because you ain't got a quarterback in certain other area, blah, 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 blah. You see players flying off the board, let them go.
Not unless you're drafting in front of me, then panic. Go into panic mode.